Numbers do not lie. When you lay out the numbers, you have graphs, you have charts, you have the trajectory of where it was and what it is now. You have recommendations. When you do those kind of things for your clients, they trust you in a way where they feel almost relieved that they found you.
To transform your business into a brand that truly shines, well, you're in the right place. My name is Sommer Vega, and I am thrilled to have you here. With over 25 years of experience from leading communications teams to building my business from scratch, I've seen it all. Setbacks, success, and everything in between. And guess what? I'm here to spill the beans on what it truly takes to build and sustain a brilliant brand. So whether you're just starting out or looking to revamp your existing brand, you'll find golden nuggets of wisdom right here. We'll dive deep into strategies, mindset shifts, and nitty-gritty details that make brands extraordinary. Stick around, because Brilliant Brands Academy is where we believe that every entrepreneur has the potential to create something truly exceptional. And together, we'll turn that potential into reality. So hit the subscribe button and let's get started on this exciting journey to brand brilliance.
Hey, Brilliant Brands. Welcome back to Brilliant Brands Academy podcast, the go-to place where strategy meets clarity and creativity drives results. I'm your host, Summer, and today we are actually diving into a topic that too many service providers overlook, and that is reporting progress and providing success to your clients. I know this one may not feel as glamorous as designing campaigns or landing media hits, but let me tell you something. It's a game changer when it comes to client retention, trust building, and business growth. So let me give you an example. I'm going to take you back a few years. When I first opened my business, Pocket PR, the early days, one of my most popular services was writing and distributing press releases. Makes sense, right? Because it's a public relations agency. Now, clients would hire me to craft a compelling press release, and I make sure that it went out to all the right channels, locally, nationally, industry specific, and even wire services. I would do all of the things necessary to make sure that press release was succinct, had the right quotes, and really brought out the main purpose or call to action that my client had. But here's the truth. I didn't provide any type of follow-up report. No numbers, no media reach, nothing really, because I figured if they got media reach, they knew it because they were interviewed for the media reach. But here's the thing, that press release did more than just garner an interview. It was actually distributed to hundreds of outlets, because I send it to hundreds, literally. And I specifically choose niche publications that I think the message would resonate with that particular audience or coincide with the service that my client provided. Now, I assumed obviously that the value was clear. I mean, the release was sent out, right? So if it was sent out, there's your value. But what I didn't realize is that my client wouldn't see or couldn't see. That's the right word. My client could not see what I saw. They did not know who opened it. They did not know which journalists or which media outlets it went to. They don't know which journalists clicked on it or what stations actually picked it up online. And worst of all, they didn't really know verbatim their return on investment. And you know what happens when clients don't see the value? Well, then they are left kind of in limbo, and you have left as a business owner, you've left that perception up to being just how they feel about the service. Now, thank God I've got some amazing clients, and I pride myself on providing the best customer service. So it never really was an issue when it comes to how my clients felt. But I felt like there was something more that I can do for them to ensure that they know that their dollars really what was spent in a way where it wasn't just me sending out a release, writing a release and just sending it out. So I needed to do something different. I needed to let them know what actually happened to their release in a comprehensive report. And now that's exactly what I do for that particular service and for others. So specifically for press releases, they know how many pitches were made. They know which outlets received it, local, national, and industry specific, especially if it is a well-known media outlet. They know how many media outlets were sent the press release. They obviously know how many interviews were garnered, and they know who picked it up because of the wire placement. And then most importantly, they know earned media coverage that actually resulted from that. I even highlight what didn't land because transparency breeds trust. So in that report, there is a synopsis in the beginning that shows the overall process for the press release, our overall strategy, and my recommendations for the future, especially if it didn't land in the way that I expected it to land. I am transparent about that because I believe that really looking at what you've done really can speak to what you should tweak and change for the future. And guess what? My clients felt the difference. They didn't know that's the thing that they needed because, I never got complaints about it. I mean, they didn't know, but I just kind of up-leveled it by providing that comprehensive report. And they could feel it. They began to see exactly where their dollars went and, more importantly, what they got in return. Now, when I send those reports, my clients are like, oh my gosh, this is so remarkable. And they even go as far as to share the report with their whole department. And if it's a nonprofit, I've got a nonprofit that shares it with their board. Now, let me tell you, if they're sharing it with their board and their department and their bosses and those who are speaking to the trajectory of their organization, then they are showing the board or those decision makers, those key players, the value of your service. So the power of that is that now you have the buy-in of key decision makers when it comes to you pitching your services. So what happens is those key decision makers become on board with the idea of increasing the services that you provide for them. Now, I apply this principle to basically every major service that I offer, especially when it is something where I'm taking the client on a journey for the long term. I really like to do this with my retainer clients. Whether I'm working with a university or a government agency or even a small business, I report on the work that has been done. Now, for larger institutions like the universities and government agencies, their actual purchase order often itemizes each deliverable and the value attached. That's clear so that they know, okay, this line item is a social media campaign production, for instance. Either I did that or not. Now, if I ran social media ads in addition to that campaign production, the production of the video, the production of the graphics, if I went as far as also ran their ads for them, I provide a report for that so that they know the full scope and reach of their social media ads. Now, for small business clients, I obviously don't have a purchase order. So what I do is I send written reports with clean graphics, with data, and with success insights. Even if the deliverables are creative, like a branding package, content calendar, or social media strategy, always find a way to measure progress and actually show them that value. This approach has had powerful effects, like wonderful ripple effects on my business. As a result, I see more and more that my clients trust me. It's to the point where I have clients who will request that I work as the middleman. Now, go figure. Like, I have had clients request that I work as the middleman when working with another company. So, for instance, I had a client who was running radio ads and they paid the radio station for those ads. Now, I helped them write the radio ads, but they also wanted me to be the representative that spoke to their advertising executive for the radio station. You know why? Because they trust me. I built that trust with them by reporting, by being transparent, and by really, I guess the thing is, I really make it seem like I have, and not that I make it seem like I do. I really do have their best interest at heart. One of the things that I was always taught, my mom always taught me, is that if your name is on it and that you have some sense of responsibility for it, then it's got to be right. You've got to be proud of owning it, no matter what it is. So they always refer me to other networks. And best of all, they constantly come back for more. So here is the thing. Most of my returning clients come back with bigger budgets and bigger needs. I mean, think about sales. It's harder to do cold sales than it is to do warm sales. We all know that. Well, the warmest sale that you can actually do is a return client. So I've had a client come to me for a simple graphic or a flyer or even a press release. Hey, that actually really did happen. I had a client that came to me for a press release, and months later, they came back, and the value of what they have now hired me to do is, golly, I would say 100, 200, 300, 400% more than the value of the press release. So it's a client that was happy with the services, and they came back with a bigger service request that was great. I've had that happen several times. They start small, testing the waters. It's almost like dating. You kind of start small, and then after you've proven yourself and they feel like, oh my goodness, I really do love working with this individual or working with your company, I wonder what else they can do. And especially if you do reporting, if you do follow-ups, comprehensive report, it is so clear. I mean, numbers do not lie. When you lay out the numbers, you have graphs, you have charts, you have the trajectory of where it was and what it is now. You have recommendations. When you do those kind of things for your clients, they trust you in a way where they feel almost relieved that they found you. And as a result, you become their person. You know how so people say, I got a guy, or I know a guy, or I know a person, or I know a company. That's what ends up happening. You become a person that they call in their Rolodex. Well, we don't really use Rolodex nowadays. I'm dating myself. But in their phone, in their mobile device, you are in there as the go-to person for a specific service. And let me tell you, by reporting the success, you are putting yourself more and more in position for them to trust you. I can't push that point enough. Just trust me when I say so. That builds trust, and trust builds relationships, and those relationships build referrals. That's why 99% of my business come from return clients or referrals. And here's the kicker. Most of them return wanting something bigger, more strategic, and higher price. It never fails. Now, let's talk about you, especially if you're in a different industry. If you're a fitness coach or a trainer, then don't just rely on your client feeling better to say that you're doing a good job. you got to track it. Report body measurements, strength increases, have those personal bests. Remind them of what they came in doing and what they can now doing. Before and after photos are remarkable, and even improvements in mental health and energy. That kind of reporting builds massive loyalty, and it shows real impact you're making on their lives. Now, I know that you could do this on a whim, but how much more powerful would it be to actually send them a report in an email in hand, an actual printout of some sort that has all of the numbers laid out for you. And when they see that progress, they're more apt to continue working the process, continue hiring you for more of your services. Now, here's the thing. If you run a storefront or a product-based business, reporting might look a little different, but it's just as important. You've got to use your customer feedback forms to understand product satisfaction. So by sending out those feedback forms, you know exactly how your customers feel about the products that you are providing, and even the service in terms of like the customer service, the processes for getting their products, all of those things. You're getting real feedback from them. And in this case, if you're a storefront, you do need that. You need to know how they're feeling about it. You can also track which items sell best and during which campaigns. That tells you clearly, if the apple pie is selling better than the peach cobbler, then clearly the apple pie is a winning product and the peach cobbler may need a little bit of improvement. Even a simple monthly results and insights recap email can help clients see that you're running your business intentionally and that their dollars are working. Now, let me leave you with this truth. When you don't report your progress, you're taking a gamble. You're leaving the value of your work up to what the client remembers, how they feel, and what they assume. And that is risky. It is risky business because numbers do not lie. Sometimes you just have to lay it out, plain and simple. Lay out the numbers and make it easy for them to see the value. And then that value that they see through those numbers is absolutely undeniable. Even a beautifully executed project can feel like, it was cool. Oh, it didn't take that much to a client if they don't see why behind it. So whether you're a coach, you're a designer, a strategist, a shop owner, you got to show your work. You got to prove your value, and you've got to build your business on results. So here's your next move. Pick one service that you offer, just one. Let's just start with that, and ask yourself, how can I start reporting the success of this service to my clients? Even if it's a simple checklist, a graphic summary, or a screenshot of results, it doesn't matter as long as you're showing them what they're getting in return. Clients who understand the value are clients who stay, and clients who see the impact are clients who pay. That's it for today's episode of the Brilliant Brands Academy podcast. If this episode has opened your eyes in any new way of delivering value, do me a favor. Be sure to share it. Be sure to subscribe, tag a fellow entrepreneur, leave a review, and let's keep building brilliant brands that don't just create results, but that communicate those results clearly. Until next time, keep showing up, keep shining, and always, always let people know the results of your work.